One thing I noticed is that as I study selfishness and rational self-interest, is that some people think that they're selfish, or I thought that some people were selfish, but it's not selfish is what they were doing, because selfish is more objectively. You can look at somebody or look at a circumstance and say, you know what, I can see why X, Y, and Z did that objectively because it's better for them in the long run. But what people are is not selfish. They're inconsiderate. And the thing is, what really bothers me is if they are consciously inconsiderate. I think some people are subconsciously inconsiderate, which we confuse with selfishness, because a lot of the times when you find out the moves or you see the moves that people do, and you see that it's not in their best interest, because one, they probably pissed you off, and two, in the long run, I don't see how this behavior is going to better them or further along their existence or propel them to success based on what they were doing. I look at that and I find it funny. I wonder what people think about that. What do you think about what is the difference between being selfish and being inconsiderate? And what the thing is that I notice is that I'd rather be considered a selfish person than be considered an inconsiderate person, because at least if you were selfish, you were thinking about your best interest, your rational best interest long term. I considered you and I decided to make the move that I made. So with selfishness, I did consider you. I just decided that you weren't in my best interest at this particular time. So that's why I curbed you or whatever. That's why I slighted you or just decided not to go along with you, whatever it is. But to be inconsiderate means that you didn't even consider the person or their circumstances or anything about them when you did or made the move that you make or make the move that you make. Being inconsiderate is a lot worse to me. Well, I don't think nothing is wrong with being selfish, especially if you're rationally selfish. But there's sometimes people can be selfish and it's not rationally selfish. How do you know if you're not rationally selfish is really an objective thing. You should be able to show this, pretty much have this same event or circumstances take place, show it to a bunch of people, and the consensus would be objectively whether or not this was selfish or not selfish, rationally selfish or irrationally selfish. Two different things. But being inconsiderate means that you don't even consider the person. Not because, I don't think it's because you're selfish. You're not looking at your long-term best interest. You're looking at your short-term gratification. And that's what makes the difference between, for me, somebody who's selfish versus somebody who's inconsiderate. I'd rather be considered a selfish person all day long than somebody consider me to be inconsiderate. Now, I was wondering, you can't be rationally inconsiderate, because when you're inconsiderate, just the term itself means that you was probably supposed to consider something. So being inconsiderate is not in your best interest. So I would definitely rather be selfish, because I think selfishness is a virtue, especially if you do it the correct way. But inconsiderate, I'm not. I've always considered you. I just considered it not to be important.